Silence is one of the most profound sources of power available to us, and yet it is often misunderstood. In a world that values action, speed, and constant communication, silence can appear to be a weakness, a sign of indecision or passivity. However, the truth is that silence, when embraced and understood, allows us to tap into an energy that words and actions cannot reach. It is in the quiet moments, the pauses, and the space between sounds that we connect most deeply with ourselves and the world around us. When we choose silence in challenging situations, it is not an act of avoidance, but a conscious choice to center ourselves. Reacting immediately to problems or provocation is a reflex driven by the ego, which seeks to assert itself, prove its worth, and protect its image. But silence offers a different path. It creates a space where we are not driven by ego or the need for control. In silence, we step back from the role of doer and allow ourselves to simply be. This is not easy. It requires great strength to resist the urge to defend ourselves, explain our position, or fix things. By choosing silence, we create an inner stillness that transcends the surface-level chatter of the mind. It allows us to observe situations without the haze of emotions or assumptions, offering us a clearer perspective and deeper understanding. Silence can be a form of communication more potent than any words. Often our presence, when coupled with silence, is more than we realize. It exudes calm, stability, and a quiet confidence that cannot be feigned. When we refuse to be drawn into arguments or petty conflicts, we send a message that we are at peace within ourselves, that we are not swayed by the noise around us. This can be unsettling for others who may expect us to respond in predictable ways. Silence shifts the dynamics, often leaving others unsure of what to make of our non-reaction. This confusion is not our goal, but it is a side effect of stepping out of the typical patterns of communication. By choosing silence, we communicate that we are not interested in ego battles or proving ourselves. Our silence becomes a shield, a sanctuary that protects our inner peace. Silence also connects us to something larger than ourselves. It is often said that silence is the language of the divine, the space where inspiration and wisdom flow freely. In moments of silence, we allow ourselves to connect with a higher consciousness, receiving insights that are not accessible through thinking and talking. When we are quiet, we are receptive. We can listen to the whispers of intuition, to the gentle nudges that guide us on our path. Silence enables us to tap into a wellspring of creativity, clarity, and strength that lies within. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can respond thoughtfully, choosing words and actions that are aligned with our true selves. In this state, silence becomes our ally, a source of renewal and a reminder of our own resilience. It is a place where we can retreat to restore our energy, especially in a world that often drains it. When we cultivate a habit of silence, we are no longer swayed by every external influence. We become anchored in our own essence, unmoved by the storms around us. The power of silence lies in its ability to ground us in the present moment, allowing us to approach life with calmness and clarity. It is not a withdrawal or a lack of action, rather. It is a purposeful act that allows us to stand firmly in our own truth. In silence, we find strength that is unshakable. It is a quiet power that does not seek attention or validation, a power that remains constant regardless of circumstances. By embracing silence, we cultivate an inner peace that cannot be disturbed by outside forces. This is true power, not the power to dominate or control, but the power to remain centered, connected, and fully alive. Silence is a source of this strength, reminding us that we are enough as we are, and that within us lies a well of wisdom, courage, and calm that can guide us through any challenge. Silence has a unique ability to reveal the truth, a power that is often overlooked in our fast-paced, noise-filled world. When we are silent, we open a space where truth, unfiltered and unadorned, has the room to emerge. In contrast, speaking too quickly or too often can obscure reality, filling our minds and conversations with assumptions, defenses, and reactions. But silence lets clarity seep through, allowing us to see beyond the surface to the essence of what is real and authentic. When we face conflicts, disagreements, or emotionally charged situations, our instinct is often to explain, justify, or defend ourselves. We want to protect our perspectives, assert our beliefs, or prove that we're right. But words can sometimes do more harm than good. They may reflect our immediate emotions rather than our true feelings or intentions, leaving us vulnerable to misunderstandings. Silence, however, allows us to pause. In that pause, there is a chance to observe, reflect, and gain perspective. It can help us avoid speaking out of impulse, thereby preventing words that we might later regret. Silence acts as a filter, clearing the emotional fog that often surrounds situations. In the stillness, we can separate what is essential from what is not. For example, when we encounter criticism, the immediate reaction might be to respond defensively. But when we choose silence instead, we give ourselves a moment to consider, is this criticism valid? Is it constructive? Is there a truth here that I can learn from? By remaining silent, we create a buffer between ourselves and the criticism, allowing space for introspection. We may even find that in this silence we can release our need to be right or to win, realizing instead that the truth is more important than our personal pride. Silence also enables us to listen not just to the words others say, but to the underlying emotions and intentions behind those words. When we are silent, we give ourselves the opportunity to truly listen, to hear not just the words, but the message being communicated at a deeper level. In our stillness, we can detect nuances that might otherwise go unnoticed, a hint of sadness in someone's voice, a hidden plea for understanding, or a moment of vulnerability. In our silence, we become more attuned to these subtleties, and this awareness allows us to respond with greater compassion, empathy, and authenticity. This kind of listening transforms our interactions, creating an environment where truth can be shared without fear of judgment or misunderstanding. Silence can also be a powerful tool in revealing the truth to others. When we choose not to engage in needless debates or arguments, we often cause others to pause and reflect on their own words. Our silence can invite them to reconsider their statements or positions, encouraging them to think more deeply about what they're saying or feeling. In this way, silence does not mean giving up our voice, rather it means giving others the space to hear their own. By not reacting impulsively, we create an atmosphere where the conversation can evolve organically, often leading to a deeper, more meaningful exchange. Moreover, silence gives us the chance to connect with our inner truth. Life is filled with distractions that can pull us away from our authentic selves, leading us to make choices or say things that may not align with who we truly are. In silence, we can step away from these distractions, grounding ourselves in our own awareness. This is where we can listen to our intuition, feel our true emotions, and recognize our genuine values. By tuning into this inner silence, we allow our deeper truth to guide our actions and responses, rather than reacting from a place of insecurity, fear, or ego. Silence also requires us to cultivate patience. In a society that encourages immediate responses, waiting for the truth to emerge naturally is a rare practice. But silence teaches us that truth does not need to be rushed. Sometimes the best thing we can do is simply wait, allowing answers and insights to arise in their own time. This patience brings with it a sense of calm, knowing that we do not have to force anything. The truth, like a seed planted in fertile ground, will grow and reveal itself when it is ready. One of the most powerful aspects of silence is that it reveals what is essential. When we stop filling the air with noise, we can see what remains. It is often in moments of silence that we realize certain issues are not as important as they seemed, or that certain relationships or goals no longer serve us. Silence strips away the superficial, helping us to see clearly what we truly value and what we can let go of. This clarity gives us the courage to make choices that align with our core values, even if they require us to step out of our comfort zone. Ultimately, silence allows us to engage with life on a deeper level. By creating space for truth to emerge, we build relationships and make decisions that are rooted in honesty, empathy, and authenticity. We learn to navigate conflicts with grace, to listen with an open heart, and to respond from a place of integrity. Silence is not a void, it is a powerful presence, a space where truth can blossom, unencumbered by the noise of the world. In embracing silence, we find not only the truth, but a path to a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Detachment from the ego is a transformative practice that holds the key to personal freedom and inner peace. In our everyday lives, the ego often drives our thoughts, actions, and reactions, creating a false sense of identity that is heavily influenced by external validation and societal expectations. By learning to detach from the ego, we can step into a more authentic version of ourselves, one that is grounded in self-awareness, inner strength, and a profound connection to the universe. The ego thrives on comparison, competition, and the need to be right. It feeds off the idea of separation and individuality, convincing us that our worth is measured by our achievements, possessions, or social status. This perspective creates a constant cycle of striving, where we chase after external accolades, approval, and recognition, often at the expense of our true selves. We become enmeshed in a game of identity that distracts us from our inherent worthiness and the deeper truths of our existence. Detaching from the ego requires us to recognize and challenge these ingrained beliefs. It invites us to question the narratives we tell ourselves, stories that may have been constructed by societal norms, family expectations, or past experiences. By examining these narratives, we can begin to see how they shape our reactions and behaviors, often leading us to respond defensively or reactively. This awareness is the first step toward liberation. It allows us to see the ego for what it is, a collection of thoughts and beliefs that do not define our true essence. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate detachment from the ego is through the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, creating a space between stimulus and response. When we practice mindfulness, we become aware of the ego's incessant chatter, its need for control, recognition, and validation. We begin to recognize that these thoughts are just that, thoughts. They do not have to dictate our reality or our actions. By observing the ego without attachment, we can choose to respond from a place of love and authenticity rather than from fear or insecurity. Silence also plays a crucial role in this process. In the quiet moments of reflection, we can sift through the noise of our thoughts and the demands of our ego. Silence allows us to connect with our deeper self, the part of us that is wise, compassionate, and grounded in truth. In this space, we can ask ourselves profound questions: who am I without my achievements? What do I value beyond external validation? This introspection is essential for breaking free from the ego's grip, enabling us to embrace a more expansive sense of self. Detachment from the ego invites us to cultivate humility. When we realize that our worth is not contingent upon our successes or failures, we begin to see ourselves as part of a larger whole. This understanding fosters compassion for ourselves and others. We recognize that everyone is navigating their own struggles, influenced by their own egos. Instead of competing or comparing, we can approach others with empathy and understanding. This shift in perspective not only strengthens our connections with others, but also allows us to experience a sense of community and belonging that transcends individualism. Moreover, letting go of ego-driven desires opens the door to authenticity. When we detach from the need to impress or conform, we can express ourselves freely and genuinely. We can pursue what truly resonates with our hearts, whether it be in our careers, relationships, or creative endeavors. This authenticity is empowering. It allows us to live in alignment with our values and passions rather than simply adhering to societal expectations. By embracing our true selves, we inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of authenticity in our communities. Detaching from the ego also involves letting go of the fear of judgment. The ego often clings to the opinions of others, leading us to act in ways that are inauthentic or contrary to our true feelings. However, when we recognize that others' perceptions of us are often reflections of their own egos, we can release the weight of their judgment. This detachment allows us to make choices that honor our truth, unencumbered by the fear of how we will be perceived. In doing so, we reclaim our power and agency, living our lives on our own terms. As we navigate this journey of detachment from the ego, we may encounter moments of resistance. The ego is resilient and will fight to maintain its grip on our identities. It may manifest as self-doubt, fear of rejection, or the urge to revert to old patterns of behavior. However, it is crucial to approach these moments with compassion. Instead of berating ourselves for feeling attached to our egos, we can acknowledge these feelings and gently remind ourselves of our intention to detach. This self-compassion cultivates resilience, allowing us to continue moving forward on our path. Ultimately, detachment from the ego leads us to a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. It liberates us from the constant striving for approval and validation, allowing us to connect with our true essence. In this state of detachment, we can experience life more fully, embracing the present moment, cherishing our relationships, and nurturing our passions without the weight of ego-driven expectations. As we detach from the ego, we step into a life filled with authenticity, compassion, and connection. We recognize that our worth is intrinsic, not defined by external factors. We embrace the truth that we are part of a vast, interconnected tapestry of existence, where each of us contributes uniquely to the whole. In this awareness, we find freedom, the freedom to be ourselves, to love deeply, and to live with purpose and meaning. The journey of detachment from the ego is a path to true empowerment, guiding us back to the essence of who we are and the boundless potential that lies within each of us. The art of non-reaction is a profound practice that can transform the way we engage with the world. In a society that often equates action with strength and reaction with righteousness, learning to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively is a radical act of self-mastery. Non-reaction does not imply passivity or indifference. Rather, it represents a conscious choice to remain centered, composed, and authentic in the face of external stimuli. This practice allows us to navigate life's challenges with grace and clarity, ultimately leading to deeper connections with ourselves and others. At the heart of non-reaction is self-awareness. To practice non-reaction effectively, we must first cultivate a deep understanding of our thoughts, feelings, and triggers. When faced with a challenging situation, whether it's a conflict with a friend, a stressful work environment, or unexpected criticism, our initial instinct may be to react defensively, retaliate, or withdraw. However, if we take a moment to pause and observe our emotions without judgment, we create a space for clarity and insight. This pause is crucial. It allows us to separate ourselves from our immediate reactions and assess the situation from a more grounded perspective. Mindfulness plays a key role in developing the art of non-reaction. By practicing mindfulness, we train our minds to remain present and aware even amid turmoil. This practice enables us to notice when our ego begins to take over, prompting us to react from a place of fear and insecurity or anger. Mindfulness teaches us that our thoughts are not facts, they are transient and often influenced by our past experiences and fears. By acknowledging this, we can step back and choose how we want to respond. This conscious choice is what separates a reactive response from a thoughtful reaction. In the realm of communication, non-reaction is particularly powerful. In conversations where emotions run high, the urge to defend ourselves or assert our opinions can overshadow the potential for meaningful dialogue. By practicing non-reaction, we create a space for active listening and understanding. Instead of immediately countering another person's argument or feeling the need to prove our point, we can listen deeply, allowing the other person to express themselves fully. This approach not only fosters a more respectful exchange, but also opens the door for genuine connection. When we respond thoughtfully, we invite others to do the same, leading to more productive and harmonious interactions. Another critical aspect of non-reaction is the ability to embrace uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable, and trying to control outcomes often leads to frustration and disappointment. Non-reaction teaches us to accept that we cannot always determine how situations will unfold or how others will respond to us. By relinquishing the need for control, we can approach life with greater openness and flexibility. This acceptance allows us to navigate challenges with resilience, adapting to circumstances as they arise rather than becoming entangled in a web of anxiety and expectation. Practicing non-reaction also empowers us to cultivate emotional resilience. When we react impulsively, we often find ourselves caught in a cycle of negative emotions, anger, regret, or guilt. By choosing non-reaction, we give ourselves the opportunity to process our feelings more constructively. Instead of being swept away by the tide of our emotions, we can sit with them, acknowledging their presence without being defined by them. This emotional resilience enables us to recover more quickly from difficult situations, ultimately leading to a greater sense of peace and stability. The art of non-reaction also serves as a powerful antidote to negativity. In a world where conflict and drama seem to abound, it is easy to get pulled into the chaos and react in ways that contribute to a cycle of negativity. However, by practicing non-reaction, we break this cycle. We learn to observe negativity without becoming entangled in it, allowing us to maintain our peace and integrity. This shift in perspective is liberating. It empowers us to focus on what truly matters, redirecting our energy toward positive actions rather than getting lost in the noise of discontent. Detachment from the outcomes of our interactions is another critical component of non-reaction. When we are overly attached to how others perceive us or how our actions will be received, we often find ourselves in a state of heightened anxiety. This attachment can lead us to react in ways that are inauthentic as we mold our responses to fit what we believe others expect from us. By practicing non-reaction, we can let go of this attachment and embrace the idea that our worth is not dependent on external validation. We become free to express ourselves genuinely, knowing that our value lies in being true to ourselves rather than conforming to the expectations of others. Furthermore, non-reaction cultivates a sense of inner peace and calm. In our fast-paced world, stress and chaos can quickly become overwhelming. By practicing non-reaction, we create a sanctuary within ourselves, a place where we can return whenever we feel overwhelmed. This inner peace radiates outward, influencing our interactions and relationships. When we respond with calmness, we inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of positivity and understanding. In conclusion, the art of non-reaction is a powerful practice that can transform our lives. By cultivating self-awareness, embracing mindfulness, and letting go of the need for control, we can navigate life's challenges with grace and authenticity. Non-reaction fosters deeper connections, emotional resilience, and a profound sense of inner peace. It empowers us to rise above the chaos of the world, allowing us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. As we embrace this art, we not only enhance our own lives, but also contribute to a more harmonious and compassionate world. By practicing non-reaction, we can become beacons of calm and understanding, inspiring others to embark on their own journeys toward mindful living and authentic connection.